What is up, YouTube? This is your man, HGM Law Comics, coming to you on this Tuesday evening. Doing a video of the top 10 sentimental comics in my collection, sentimental graded comics in my collection. And I say that because it's not about the value of the comics, though they have some price to them, but it's about there's a story behind most of them. And that's what makes it important. Why they're in the collection, why I did what I did to get to them, and so glad that we're at that point. So I'm just going to go through the top 10. The bottom 7 are in no particular order. The top 3 are the ones that matter the most to me. So, it's not about trying to flex. It's not about trying to show off. I've been, involved in this hobby off and on for a good part of my life, and as I tell you all the time, it's always about the books. It's always about just, getting out there and finding them and keeping them, preserving them, so they mean something, so that's why we're here. So, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you coming by. Please subscribe if it's your first time. Hit the like button if you can. Because like I say, let's share our books together. Let's share the journey and enjoying this hobby. So we'll get started. This number 10 I just got today. So it's Amazing Spider-Man 300, 9.6. Signed by Todd McFarlane. Now, I put this here because it replaces a 9.4 that I got when I got back into the hobby. As I don't know if you've seen any of my earlier books, you know that I had 2 of these raw. I had 2 of these back in the 90s when they came out. I bought 2 of them because I knew they were coming out, and I bought them at cover price, and I held on to them. And then when grading started with TGC, I sent them both off to get graded. One came back in 8.5, one came back in 8.0. So immediately I took them back out because I, at that point in time, thought grading was totally overrated. But then when I got into a pinch and needed money because of divorce, I sold them and just go ahead and sold them off to my comic shop. And so my comic shop has had them since. So when I finally got my finances back together, I want to say 4 years ago, one of the first books I got was the ASM 300 9.4. And because at that point in time, that's just what I felt comfortable affording. Pretty pricey book, so. And I've had it ever since, never planning on doing anything with it. But on Key Unit Auction a couple weeks ago, one of the guys put this up. And, Tom McFarlane signed it and got a 9.6, and I saw a chance to upgrade. Because not many of these come up. I mean, they're all over eBay and everything, but I am not an eBay fan. So got a chance to put this in, so proud to put this in to replace it. So the 9.4, of course, is going to go up probably Sunday. So if you are in interest of getting a 9.4 ASM 300 that I got 4 years ago, that I don't believe has been cracked or cleaned and pressed, strictly comics auction, Sunday, 8 o'clock. Look for it there. All right, so then we go to this Silver Surfer number 4. Important to me because, again, I had this raw in my collection, sold it for my divorce. You don't find these many places out available. And so when I got back into it, this is one of the main ones I went after to replace. And when I saw it, not a high number, 5.5, a mid grade. But I didn't care because it's Silver Surfer 4. And, I've wanted it for so long. Iconic cover, been swiped many times. A beautiful book. And for me, I'm keeping this one. So, that's how that got there. Now, also, along with it, I was able to have a Silver Surfer 1 in my original collection, raw. And, like I say, all these got sold off to my comic shop when I needed money for my divorce. And I told the story before, and I'll say it again. I had 20 long boxes of comics that I've kept through the years. And when going through the divorce, I cataloged everything, every single book, and sent it out to get looked at. And at the time, the value I had on paper was $53,000. And after shopping to a couple local stores, realized we wasn't getting anywhere close to that. I just wanted 10%. Wasn't even getting anywhere close to that. And so I sent it to my comic shop, and they made me an offer. They said, cherry pick the books, and give me $1,200, or take the entire collection and give me $1,100. And to this day, I couldn't understand it. And it was just like, well, you pay us to deal with all the extra comics that we don't really want, and we'll deal with it. And I've said before, if they'd just given me $1,300, they would have gotten them all. Because I'm so at that point in time, I was sorting through my couch cushions, trying to find money to pay for gas to get to work and stuff like that. So, they just gave me $100 more, I would have done that. But they didn't. So, here we are. So, been looking for this. Was able to find it. Yes, it's restored, but that doesn't really matter to me. It's a Silver Surfer 1. I don't know if I'll upgrade this ever, just because it's a pricey book and there are better things to do with my money than this. And one of the things with traveling and being my age is that you realize there are better things to put your money in than a comic book. But this is meaning because I did have it raw, and a very important book to me. So it's one of the ones that I went looking for as soon as I could to try to replace. So that's why Silver Surfer 1 is in there. Now, this one, when I got back into comics, I want to say now 6 months ago. Surprised it's that long. This is one of the comics that taught me a big lesson. Fantastic Four 48, first appearance of Silver Surfer and Galactus. Iconic book. Came out before I was, old enough to start collecting. Never saw it in the back issue bin when I started collecting. Even in the 80s, never saw it. Was never available. Couldn't find it. You knew it existed, and you knew it was very pricey, but couldn't get it. So when I got back into collecting this past year, this was on Chino and Manny's auction, key unit auction, on a Friday evening, and they pulled this bad boy up, and I looked at it and I said, it's a book that doesn't come up often at all. Don't know when I'll ever see it again. I have the ability to get it, and it's one of those iconic grails that you're always told if there's a comic to invest in, no matter what, this is one of them to get. One of the ones to get because it just stands the test of time. And so I got a chance to get this. This is a big battle between me and Contender on that auction. Overpaid for it tremendously. But it was just one of those things where, and especially now that it's graded, overpaid for it. But got it cleaned and pressed twice, and even with this little spot here. Got it cleaned and pressed twice, and then submitted, because I wanted the best best possible grade I could get out of it. And this is what came back. So, overall, I'm pleased with it because it meant my return back into collecting, being able to get something that I wasn't able to get earlier. And it's a classic book. And so that was the reason why I got this, and that's why this is in my top. It's probably really not worth much at all, but as I said, it's a sentimental top 10. I learned a lot of lessons from getting this book. Learned a lot. And I think that's why this sticks out to me as one of my top 10, because it taught me a lot about the industry now and what you go through to secure a really, really good book. So that's why I have that here. Just grabbing one. Now, I had a Hulk 181 raw from the beginning of collecting, and as I said before, my LCS contacted me because I had a good relationship with him, and offered me the issue for $80. And this was back, I want to say 89, 90, something like that. And back then, $80 was quite a bit of money, given that the cost of a single issue is $1. So when you move that forward, like cost of a single issue now is like $4 or $5, and you go 80 times that, yeah, that's not cheap. And it was Incredible Hulk 181, which had a lot of stature, but nothing close to the stature it has now. But everyone knew the book and everything. And he sold it to me, and it didn't have the stamp. He said it doesn't have the Marvel stamp, and I'm going, who cares? Who cares if it doesn't have the Marvel stamp? It's a stamp. Stamp doesn't affect the story, none of that stuff. But again, I sold it to my comic shop when did my divorce, and it was one of those where I got a chance to pick this up. Again, my understanding has not been cleaned and pressed, but I don't care. It's what it is, and it's an old label. One of the first books I got when I got back into this 3-4 years ago. One of the first books I replaced, and probably still the most valuable book I have, but not the top sentimental value book I have. But it's another one of those. If you're going to invest in a book, this is the book to invest in. One of the books to invest in. It just stands the test of time. So that's why this is here. All right, so Amazing Spider-Man 129, first appearance of Punisher. I never had a chance to get this book until I got back into collecting about 4 years ago. And then I was, same place where I was getting these books and got a chance to get this one. Always heard about it, always knew it existed. It was one of those grails that you just never thought you'd get and locate, get a chance to own. And I was able to get one. If I got a chance to upgrade this one, I probably would try, but not sure, because again, a 92 is a really decent grade. Can't complain about that. And to make the jump required to make it, don't know if I really want to do it, but glad to have it. It was one of those ones that prize collection to own. Don't think I'll ever get rid of it. Like saying, unless for some reason I stumbled into one that's better, and I've got some just loose McDonald's money hanging around. But for the most part, no, it's just going to stay in the collection and be part of that. Okay. Try to not take too long. Okay. Now, this one, another one of these, never got a chance to own it early. Got it through Manny and Chino. My first mystery box that they sold me. And I remember Chino saying, got a giant size X-Men 1 in this box if you want it. And again, it was one of those, where am I going to find this ever again? I said, fine, I'll take it. And it was amazing because the box itself was $1,200. In it, I got this, I got a New Mutants 98, I also got Detective 88, Detective 880, and one Deadpool core, which means absolutely nothing, in the box. Now, this got cleaned and pressed, came to me. I sent it to get cleaned and pressed again before submitting it to CGC, because I knew, I said, it wasn't going to come out a high grade. I said, if I get a 3.5 or 4, I'll be ecstatic, because this is a giant size X-Men 1. They just don't come up. They just don't. Like I said, they are available if you go on eBay and all those auction sites, but not to spend the kind of money that they'd want for this. I just don't want to do. And one guy I was at, where I got some of these other slabs, he has a 5.0, and he said, he was willing. He said, guy offered him $6,000 for it, and he wouldn't sell it because he says, I know I can, crack it, clean and press it, and get a higher grade, and that means more money. And I just said, no, I can't do that, because the price of a 5.0 wasn't close to $6,000. So I said, getting this and a 4.0, I was over the moon. I was like, wow, the guys did a really good job cleaning and pressing it. Got a good blue label of an iconic book, and I will keep it and treasure it and have it in part of my permanent PC, because it just doesn't come up. So glad to have it. All right, so now we're going to get to the sentimental ones, the top 3, and I'll tell you the reason why they're the top 3. This one is Spider-Man 1, signed by Todd McFarlane, in the knee here. In the back has the letter from 1990 that came with it. Now again, this was something my LCS back at the time, Joel at Big Planet Comics, contacted me and said, I have one of these that I'll sell you for $80, signed by Todd McFarlane. At that point in time, you didn't have the conventions, you didn't have the signage, you didn't have any of that stuff. And it was just, I got a chance to get an autographed one with the letter and the little mark that says it's authentic. So I said, okay, fine, I'll keep it. And I kept it all these years since 1990, when I bought it. And then when I got back into this about 6-7 months ago, I heard about CBCS's verification program, and sent this off to get verified, because it's been in a long box for years since I got it. And to come back in 9/4 with his signature, before all this even started, I was ecstatic. This was a great.